here. I wanted to share with you today something I'm really passionate about, which is looking after your spine. As I'm sure you guys know, this is a real passion project of mine, is helping you guys have healthier backs, healthier spines. And one thing I'm really noticing, so I've just got off a call with one of my private clients on Zoom, and one thing I'm particularly noticing a lot with people is this habit, if you're in a sun salutation, and not just in sun salutations, but it's this transition between standing and folding forward. So to get from standing to folding forward, or from folding forward back to standing, there's a lot of things that I see really commonly, mistakes that people are making, which over time is going to put a lot of stress and strain and degenerate. You know, over time your discs may degenerate. You know, we have a lot of problems in the West with people with lower back problems. And if you're doing a lot of yoga, this is something to be really mindful of, is being careful in this transition between standing and folding forward. So what I see a lot is that people are quite tight in the backs of the legs, the hamstrings here. And so when they fold forward, this tightness in the back of the legs is transferring to the lower back. So if I fold forward and I've got my legs straight and I'm really tight in the backs of the legs, what happens is my lower back starts to get pulled and I'm coming forward in this kind of rounded position. And then the same when I come up. Now the reason this is particularly tricky and precarious in the long term is that there's quite a lot of pressure on the discs, even when you're not doing anything. So if I'm lying on the floor, there's still a lot of pressure being put onto the discs of my spine. In between my vertebrae, we've got these little squishy discs, and this is where a lot of the problems can arise for people. So if you're lying long on the floor, the pressure is about 4 or 5 stone pressure on the discs. It's quite a lot. If you're standing up with a neutral spine, so a nice sort of long spine, and your spine is in that neutral position, the pressure is still about 7 stone. If you're folding forward in that slump position, if I'm in this position, the pressure actually doubles. So you've got about 15 stone of pressure onto the discs of the lower back. And I actually just read another study that said it was 25 stone of pressure. So whatever the way you want to look at it, it's a lot more when you're in this folded position, because obviously the body's taking a lot more, weight. The discs are taking a lot more pressure and a lot more weight. If you're doing a sun salutation and you've got your arms out, or even your arms forward as you're coming forward, that's even more pressure. Or if you're holding a weight, which is why, as we know, we can injure ourselves a lot by lifting, carrying stuff, because we're adding weight, we're holding a weight at the same time as that pressure that's naturally being put on the discs. So long story short, basically what we want to establish is more of a neutral spine, so that when we're coming forward, we've got not a straight back, but we're honouring these 4 natural curves of the spine. So at the base, we've got this backward curve of the sacrum, we've got a slight forward curve of the lower back, we've got a backward curve of the thoracic, the mid to upper back, and then we've got a slight forward curve of the neck. So for me, I'd like to talk about it as 4 natural curves. And these natural curves are incredibly important for protecting the discs. So being aware of your neutral position is really important. And then when we're doing these transitions, like in a sun salutation, for example, where we're coming forward, if we're doing it with a rounded spine, over time, that's going to put a lot of pressure. So we want to get into the habit of doing these transitions, where we're coming forward, really. And actually, I would start with the hands on the hips. It's a good place to start. So to get your neutral spine to come forward, for most of us, I would say bending the knees is a really good idea. So you don't need them really, really bent, just a little bit of softness in the knees releases that pull on the hamstrings, which then releases the pull on the back. So if I've got my straight legs, I can stay in neutral because I've been doing yoga for many, many years, and come forward, and that's about right. I can still feel a little bit of a pull here. However, if I soften the knees, I feel I can stick kind of my sit bones out more, and I'm more likely to be able to stay in that neutral position coming forward and coming up again. So like I said, it's as important to think about your neutral coming up as it is when you're coming forward. So either way, we want to be really conscious that we're in neutral. We want to engage the core a little bit. We want that low, deep abdominal kind of engagement, about 30%, not over engaged with the core, but a little bit of engagement is really helpful. Second tip. All right, so the first tip, we've got staying in neutral, and if that means softening the knees, then softening the knees, right? Second tip is to really think about the pressure down through the floor, through the feet. So this is really important. This is something that I've really noticed with students recently. This has been a bit of a game changer. So really thinking about that grounding down through both feet so that we've got our soft knees and we're hinging forward and we're coming forward, and it's really more about when you come back up. So as I'm coming back up, if I'm not pushing down through the feet, it's very easy for me to kind of like be a bit jellified in the legs, and then that doesn't stabilise the back very well. So if I'm in my neutral spine, I've got my soft knees, and I'm really pushed down through the soles of my feet and feel the work in my legs, and then it's in my legs rather than here. You know, so it's more likely that you're really going to be using your legs rather than just going into the discs of the lower back. So we've got number one, neutral spine, soft knees, coming forward, coming up, and thinking about that low belly support. And then there's pushing down through the floor with both feet, and as you come up, you're pushing down again. So again, switching on the legs, a little bit of core engagement, neutral spine. So the third thing I want to talk about is bringing the weight forward. So what I often see as well with this transition is that people will have their bum quite far back. So when they come forward, they sit back, almost like there's a chair behind them they're sitting on, and they come forward. Now again, that's not great for your lower back, because as you come forward, there's more kind of stretch on the lower back. So one thing to really think about is keeping the weight forward onto the balls of the feet. So the weight's kind of shifting forward a little bit, and you want to think about keeping the hips over the heels. So that rather than sitting the bum way back, you know, when you come forward, and it's a little bit tricky to begin with, if this is new to you, it might feel a little bit strange. You might feel like you're going to tip forward, and there is a little bit of that. I like to think about it as sort of diving off a diving board. You're sending the energy forward rather than down. So you're coming forward, I'm staying with my hips over the heels. I'm thinking I feel like I might tip over, but I've just kind of got that, it's a fine line, but you know, finding that feeling where we can come forward. And again, same thing, so hands on the hips, lift with the chest, so you're coming forward as you come up, and I'm sort of feeling that weight onto the balls of my feet, but it prevents me from sitting into the heels and sitting the hips and really sitting the bum back, and then there's a lot of pressure in the back, which we want to avoid. So keeping the weight forward as you come up and you come down, so that the hips stay over the heels as much as possible. So there you go, those three things. So we've got little bend in the knees, really important to find that neutral spine. Obviously, if you're more flexible and you can do it with straight legs and you don't have any back problems, then that's fine. But for most of us, having a little softness in the knees is really helpful. So softness in the knees, neutral spine, a bit of core engagement as you're coming down and coming up. Push down through the feet, really important as you're coming up particularly. And then this thing of keeping the hips over the heels as you come forward and back. So we're minimizing the pressure on the lumbar discs. All right, there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know. Pop me a comment if you're watching the replay. Let me know how you got on. Obviously, you guys can head to my website if you want to join a class. At the moment, we just started the new term. In fact, this Sunday is the first class of the Sunday morning yoga I do. We're doing 8 weeks of that, and you've still got time if you want to sign up for the full 8 weeks at a little bit of a discount price. You've still got time to do that. But we started the new term on Monday, and you know, drop-ins are totally welcome. So if you want to drop into a class, you can do that just with a click of a button on my site. So if you're interested in working with me more with the yoga Pilates classes, the Hatha yoga, I even teach yin now on a Mondays. Join in. Let me know if you want to join. I'd love to see you there. And I look forward to reading your comments about this video. Do let me know how you got on. If anything was a light bulb moment for you, I'd love to know. All right, take care, guys. Have a lovely weekend.